Bolt your windows. Lock your doors. Check your closets. Look under your bed. And then prepare yourself. For it's another episode of Dark Knight of the Podcast. Whoa!
We want fish. We want fish. We want fish.
We want
We
fish.
want
We
fish.
want
And you know what,
fish.
listeners? Today you get what you fucking asked for because we got them. we got
lots of fish.
we
Flying
got
fucking fish.
that defy all plausibility. But I am here for them because
They chirp. They
scuttle like they come up from the depths of the sea and they are ravenous and they are the stars, dare I say.
well, that's Slim Pickens.
Oh my god, I can't wait. Listen, when I picked this title, I've been sitting on this egg for a while. And when I finally said this is the time, it's because the film we're covering today, Piranha 2, The Fucking Spawning, is a 1982 film directed by the prestigious one and only James Cameron, who he's having a moment right now, as he always does, of course. Whenever he releases something, it's bells and whistles and fanfare. But he has the new Avatar, The Way of Water, out right now.
That's doing quite well,
Yeah.
So
it's the first film to bounce back in the box office, really like bounce back in a hot second. And they don't know if they're going to make it exactly the amount of budget it needs to make to be profitable, because it needs like $2 billion, something absurd like that.
Yeah.
But it's about to break $1 billion, so we'll see.
But this is where he got to start. Piranha the Spawning, Piranha 2 the Spawning, or Piranha 2 Flying Killers, depending on what cut of the film or what release of the film you watch, because the one I watched, it was Piranha 2 Flying Killers. And when that popped up on the screen, I knew exactly what I was in for. I had never seen this. I had no idea James Cameron directed it, although a little bit of research that I did, that's a little, it's a little fine line there, because there's a whole story that he got fired 2 weeks into the production, and the producer took over and directed the film. And even if he did supposedly direct it, the producer would not let him see any of the edits of the film during the editing process. So there's this whole thing. And for a while, James Cameron denounced this film. He's like, yeah, I got fired from that film. I don't even consider it my first film. Terminator is my first feature-length film. But then apparently he made some comment in an interview in some magazine that yes, indeed, this was his first film, because it did allow him the experience to direct a film. So he will claim it. But that whole production story, I'm sure I'm glazing over the truth, but that's just from what I gathered from reading about the film and his involvement in it.
A few things I got to point out right now. A, someone did their motherfucking homework, because they're like, you know what? We're coming into 2023 fucking ready to rumble with this new episode. I mean, I look at you doing your homework on a movie you've never seen.
Well, hey, I got to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God. Well, and I'm thrilled, because you know what? I didn't know how you'd respond to this film. I didn't know if this was just what the doctor ordered, or if this was going to be something that you were going to, maybe say, Roger, I don't know what nonsense you're getting us into, but I feel like you and I are going to have a real good time talking about Piranha 2, The Spawning, directed by James Cameron, 1982. I think this is going to be quite a good time for everyone involved. Don't you agree?
I sure hope so. I want to get right into it. I'm just chomping,
just like these piranha. But before we get into it, yes.
First, I gotta say a big thank you.
Yes.
Is that what you were? What's that? Yeah, we got some patrons that finally decided to give into our pleading and join us on our Patreon. We got Bunny B. I love that nickname. Right. We got Courtney B, and we got Dustin Putman. So 3 patrons in the last couple of weeks, guys. And you know what? I'm sure they are just ecstatic that they joined because we have so many great episodes where there's lots of conversation that happens on our posts. We have 19. I cannot believe that, Roger. 19 full-length exclusive Patreon reviews on our Patreon. We just did my film Mrs. Claus, which was a lot of fun. It was almost like a director's commentary as you made your comments on the film. We did Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, Terrifier. If you want to hear our thoughts on the original Terrifier, just check it out. Patreon.com/Dark Night of the Podcast. The link is in the show notes, or give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We did get one of you suckers to do that.
Oh, we love you for it too.
Yeah, we do love you for it. So guys, thank you for the support. But we are going into 2023 kicking and screaming and banging our drums as we review Piranha 2, The Spawning. Now, Roger, here's the question. I've never seen the first Piranha, the original. I've seen the Alexandre Aja remake, which I love for all of its over-the-top silliness. But I I've never seen the original Piranha. I know Joe Dante directed it, but
there's also a remake from I think it was 1995. It's like a shot-for-shot remake, but it's not that awful.
Have you seen the original?
Yeah, I've seen all 3 versions of them.
Okay. Well, look at Roger. He's the ultimate.
I own
Piranha
it. I own it on Blu-ray. I love it.
Oh my God, he probably has Piranha posters in his room. My question is, because I was picking up on some plot points, is this Piranha 2, is it connected to the first one in any way, or are these just 2 separate films?
Loosely. So I think there's a bit of dialogue at one point where our heroine Annie, who we'll be talking about in a minute, where Annie's kind of making friends, quote unquote friends, with this new love interest, Tyler. And she's kind of going back and forth with him about this whole testing, this military testing that was going on, where they were testing on different species of fish, and it accidentally got into a water supply and terrorized a town. And so I think that's a subtle hint,
a little bit
note towards the original film. Okay. But I think what they're basically saying is after that happened, the military, kind of got that under control and started testing on this specific breed of fish, giving it many abilities, as we will learn.
And we learn, I mean, the film opens I was expecting, some, I don't know, opening. It opens really. The cut I watched just opens abruptly. You're just all of a sudden on a boat with this couple, and the guy's complaining about the boat not being comfortable enough, and his wife or whoever it is, she's like, "Well, you complain about everything. The sand was too sticky. This is too hot. Blah blah blah." And she's like, "We gotta come here to do what we're here for," and apparently it's to go down and scuba dive and have sex. First of all, Roger, I want to put this out there. This is the horniest fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. Everyone in this movie is, especially the women, are trying to get dick. They're grabbing dick. The children, which we're trying to talk about those children.
We're going to talk about those children in a minute. There are some real weird character dynamics in Piranha 2, The Spawning. Across the board, you get introduced to a lot of very strange, unique, and colorful characters. But a lot of them you don't get a full follow through.
Exactly,
I want more.
That's my biggest note. There are so many colorful, unique, funny characters in this film, but they are just there for, it just seems like, humorous fodder, and they're never heard from again. And then you get a couple of characters that are sort of prominent throughout the film, but again, they do nothing, and it was pointless to even have them in the film. I think that's one of the film's biggest issues is you're introduced to these characters who you think are going to be these are going to be characters we get to know, these are going to be victims, but they're not. And for the most of the film, the victims of the piranhas are people we don't give a shit about. I mean, it's just random people will all of a sudden be on a boat with, a couple topless broads who get, it's just, I was like, what is this trying to do? But back to my point, this movie, everyone is fucking horny as fuck. And these, why?
Oh
okay.
My God.
I don't know. I personally, Roger, I have a huge, I don't like. I'm gonna get personal here for a minute. I hate sex in water.
Oh my God! It's in the open
Not
sea?
even in open sea, but like in a bathtub or a shower.
I agree.
I hate it. It's
Yeah.
total turnoff for me. I've never enjoyed it. So I could not fathom in my mind taking my partner and diving into the sea to go have sex.
Oh my God! There's so many issues. Listen. First note right off the bat. I find what they're doing to be very problematic. Sans Piranha. I think, listen, I am not going down to it. First, I have a fear of sunken ships and submarines. That's the scariest thing to me. They keep coming all movie long. They keep coming back to this goddamn sunken ship, and I think it's terrifying. But anyways, they're swimming through it. They're going through portholes, and then out of nowhere, the broad pulls out a knife and cuts the dude, just cuts off his bathing suit. So now he has no bathing suit, which is already an issue.
She got naked too. Do you know?
She's full on naked. This woman is nude. Yeah, but so I would be terrified. First, that the ship's going to collapse on me. It's been decaying forever. Second, I'd be terrified that I would get some sort of parasite in my butthole or in my penis hole. Those things happen. That happens. Fungal infections. Fools. They're fools. They're letting it enter this woman as she mounts him.
That isn't even. They take off their masks too to kiss.
They're getting
How
real
are you
ballsy.
kissing underwater with water? If you opened your mouth to kiss your partner, of course you're going to get a mouthful of salt water. It's not going to be. It's
not sexy.
I was like, this is ridiculous. Although the gay in me, I'm going to tell you, the gay in me did notice he had quite the bulge in those red little speedos. I did know that.
That furry body. He's handsome.
Oh, and she took his knife out and cut his little undies off. But they're going at it. She's mounting him, and then you hear this buzzing. It's like, what is that noise?
I think here's one of my biggest issues with the movie. Well, I don't even want to say it's an issue. It's just something I acknowledge. This movie, it's called Piranha 2, but I wouldn't say there's really anything really piranha about it. In fact, this fish is a piranha mixed with a flying fish, mixed with a fish that likes to mate on the beach, that I keep forgetting the name of it. But it's multiple fish mutated together. And apparently somehow, and I think they have this in the original film too. I think it made the same noise, but it produces this this warbling noise when it's approaching. And I don't know if it's the wings, because you find out these fucking fish have wings. But I really don't know if it's the fish itself making that noise, or if it's supposed to just be like a dramatic stinger. But even though it is really absurd, I do also find it kind of impactful. I think it adds to the fury and the swarm of these things.
Oh, and a swarm indeed there is, because a swarm of these piranhas attack this lovemaking couple.
How do you thrust under the sea?
I don't know. They tear the shit out of them. And it's hard to see what's actually going on. It doesn't really give you a good, clear glimpse of what these things look like until later on in the film. You just see a big blob of black start attacking the guy, and blood is coming everywhere. And you do get kind of the effective shot. I do like kind of the effective shot of the woman's bloody hand as she's trying to reach the railing above her, and it just slowly falls down. And they're deceased. And you know what? I don't know what they expected. You go underwater to have sex. You take your oxygen mask off, fit 40 meters under the sea. I don't know what you expect is going to happen.
You are putting yourself in a very precarious situation. Again, fish aside. If it's not the piranha, it could be a shark. It could be a pack of eels. At one point, they're trying to go through, what could it have been?
Barracudas.
It could be any of those things.
Barracuda.
But I do feel that one of the shots that you do get every once in a while, and because you get the same thing, there's only so much these piranhas can do. They swarm and they devour, and that's it. And it's effective. It continuously is effective for me. Not really effective, but it works. It gets the job done. But there is one shot that they'll show occasionally, which will be the woman's torso as the heads of the fish are picking at her, and when you see that angle, I think it's actually rather effective. When you see the fish go in for a bite, though, oftentimes it's very clear it's a puppet, and it is rather comedic, I have to say.
Oh, God. This film needed a lot of more budget than it had for special effects, because, literally you can tell someone's holding a piranha puppet and attacking somebody with it. I mean, it's humorous. It's fun. It makes the film. It gives the film kind of a certain fun charm to it. As long as you can sit back and not take this film seriously, I think you're going to have a blast with it. For the most part, it's pretty briskly paced. Like we said, there's colorful characters. After this opening kill, you do get one of the longest opening credit sequences in cinematic history. It just
that
goes
goddamn
on
ship.
and
It just
on.
you get to know every fucking inch of this sunken ship. I could write you a blueprint of that fucking boat after
And
watching
when you
this
get
movie.
to know every single person that was involved in the making of this film, including the person that brought the donuts in the morning, they literally list every person single. This goes on forever. I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" All we need to know is James Cameron. Just flash it up on the screen and move on. But it takes forever. But once you get through the opening credit scene, you are introduced to a character by the name of young Chris, played by Ricky Paul Golden, who was quite the little heartthrob back in the day.
Yeah, it's surprised they don't utilize him more.
Well,
because after you get to know him, he goes away forever.
Yes, and I have an issue with this opening scene. Okay, so he's comes out of the ocean with his little pail, and he's going up to his hotel room, and his mother, Annie, who's our protagonist, our final girl, if you want to say that, is in bed. And okay, I had never seen this before. It was kind of, the picture's not that clear, so you couldn't really tell that she's much older than him. I thought this was his lover. And I thought that for quite a while because their dynamic together, I don't know if you got this, is very like sexual. Like he puts a fish in her face and she's like, "Ooh, get that out of my face." And then he drops it. She's like, "Oh, get that out of my," but he's like on top of her trying to grab it. And I was like, "Oh, this is a cute couple. Look at this." And then you find out it's his fucking mother. I'm like, what the fuck?
The Oedipus complex vibes at play between these two. I mean, I'm convinced an affair had to have happened on this set between these two actors. Because, I mean, he's the son, but he looks like he's probably 21. I'm guessing he's playing 18.
They put him in those little short shorts.
God damn, they're short. Yeah, he looks like an attractive college student. And she looks like maybe 38, 39.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't beyond I swear I thought these two were a couple. And the way the camera is moving with them when he's on top of her, when he drops that fish, it is very sexual. And then you get to introduce to the character of Tyler, who is apparently staying at the same resort. And the room service brings him his breakfast and he's like, "I don't like these eggs. These aren't as scrambled as I like." And the hotel guy is like, "Well, they're not for you. They're for Mrs. whatever her name is next door." So he thinks he's slick and he puts a note in the pan with the eggs. So then when it's delivered next door, Chris finds it. Chris is the kid and throws it out. And then we find out that this is apparently a mother and son.
And then they have another moment here where you thought it was being slathered on thick, the seduction between these two. Now they get even closer and weirder. Like this next scene between Anne and Chris, the continuation of their moment where she's like, "You're a weird boy and you're an imposter because my real son is younger and shorter." And she grabs him by the shoulders and she's like rubbing him up on his shoulders. And it looks like they're about to literally just passionately kiss. Like, I really thought when she stood up, she was just going to go in and make out with her son. I did not know what to understand.
That's what it looks like. But you also find out through some of the dialogue that she is working at this resort. They're living in this suite. He's not happy about it. He wants to live in a normal house. And she just left her husband, his father. And he's like, "Oh, I got a job on that ship that I'm going out to today." And she's like, That's today? And he says, "Yeah." She's like, I haven't approved of that yet." And then he makes some weird, was this supposed to be Roger? Was this supposed to be some like discreet, like gay joke that he makes? Because he's like, I suppose I could stay here at home and work on experimenting with some fabrics and some colors, since there's no male figure in the house. Like, okay, is he saying that he's going to stay home and working with fabric and become gay? Was that the joke and it just fell flat? I don't know.
I think he was just saying that, like, oh, if I stick around here, what am I going to do other than be part of like what you're interested in? I think maybe it was kind of going for a similar tone to what you're catching on to. But I think he's saying like, why would I want to stay here and hang out with my mom and participate in your interests and everything. Like, I want to go do my own thing. I want to go work on the boat. That's what I'm interested in.
Okay, well, she lets him go, and then you never see him again, which is fun.
I mean, you
well,
see
I know,
him,
but pointless.
But he's set up.
It's pointless.
He's set up to be a focal character in this introductory moment. It seems like it's following him more than it seems like it's following
That's
her.
what I thought. I thought, oh, okay, you're gonna because most films would take a character like this, especially considering the mother is a protagonist as well. They would take both of them and make them, a focal character, and even like establish like a conflict towards the end of the film where like he's in danger, she's trying to get to him, and that's really not what happens. But fuck these two, because the two stars of the show are coming up right now, and it is fucking Cindy and Beverly.
Well, we're about to be introduced to an array of intoxicating people. I can't get enough of these fuckers. One after another. After you got that couple, you got that old broad, Mrs. Wilson, who I can't wait to talk about. And there definitely isn't enough time spent with these people to make it feel worth it. To give us this big grand introduction to all these personalities, and then to barely come back to them again, other than maybe one other fleeting moment, just feels very unfulfilling.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, because this whole segment is introducing us to just a wide variety of people that are staying at this hotel. Again, as I mentioned, Cindy and Beverly, we get introduced to these two broads who are, again, clearly at this hotel to find Dick, because one of them overhears the fact that one of the guests behind her is a doctor. She's like, oh, he's a doctor. He's so dreamy. And this guy is a fucking not dreamy at all, as we get to see him. And Cindy's like, oh, I want the lifeguard. Why would you want the doctor? I want the lifeguard. And it's just a barrage of people wanting to have sex. These two random newlyweds who, I guess their whole shtick is the husband is like a cheap ass, because she's like, I'm not hungry. And he says, well, we need to eat breakfast because it's included with the price of the room.
And that's all these characters are literally given. Like what you just described, like that couple, you see them one other time and they talk about free meals. Like that's the same fucking topic. You see a little bit of Cindy and Beverly, certainly not enough considering these voices. I mean, what 60-year-old man dubbed Cindy's voice, because she sounds like she's been chain smoking since she was 4 years old. She's got the huskiest voice. And then Beverly is this like big over the top character, and she gets like 3 significant little vignette moments, but it is not in any way like built upon, or is this character given any kind of payoff? They're not involved in the finale in any way, shape, or form. It's just such a weird choice, because honestly, I don't look at these characters as in any way an Achilles heel or a weak point of the film. I think moments like this are really what give this film the most charm possible. And I wish, oh, how I wish they would have capitalized on this, because there's so much potential to have these just really great moments with these characters. And unfortunately, you just don't get enough.
Yeah. Well, and then we get introduced to you as a 60-year-old.
Oh my God, my idol. I am building up to that. That's my final form right there.
Mrs. Wilson, who's sitting by the pool.
Molesting lifeguards.
The poor lifeguard Ronnie comes up to her, and she literally, and he's looking good in his little tight, uniform, his little tight swim trunks, and she has no qualms about grabbing his shorts and being like, ooh, these shorts are so nice. Oh, look, feel how tight they are.
At my age, every moment counts. How would you feel about a casual encounter?
She blatantly asks to fuck.
So she just asks this poor man to fuck her, and she's like, I can teach you things those young girls couldn't even imagine.
Do you know what the doctor said my husband died of?
Too much excitement. Oh my God. But every word out of this woman's mouth is gold. Gold. Oh my God. And the last thing we see of her, I don't know if you recognized it or realized it, Troy, but she has a final moment, and it leaves me really aching to know what the outcome of her was, because I don't know what happens to this woman, but she has one more moment and she shines like the fucking sun. But yeah, so you go through all of these introductions, really thinking they're establishing this big ensemble cast, only to go to another sequence where, like, out in the middle of the ocean, you've got this character whose name is Gabby. and his child, who I don't know the story behind that one, but they're dynamite fishing, which they light a piece of dynamite, they throw it to the sea, and it erupts, and they catch the fish that are killed in the explosion, which seems problematic. And of course, the police do appear right away.
The police are, oh yeah, it's Sheriff Kimbrough, who is played by Lance Henriksen, probably the best known actor of the entire cast, who's competent in the role. You know, you don't really ever get to know him beyond like a one-dimensional type character, but it's great to see him, you know, in his younger days appear in this film and bring some, you know, established talent to the cast. But yeah, he scolds this guy like really aggressively at first, and it was hard to tell like what's the dynamic between these two, because the sheriff is like, "Oh, I'll lock you up and throw away the key, and nobody will give a shit that you're gone. They won't even care that you're gone. Nobody will even ask about you." And then the Gabby character throws him a piece of dynamite, and he catches it and has to throw it out in the ocean, and it explodes and kills all these fish. And the sheriff's like, "Well, are you cooking these up tonight? Okay, I'll be at your place." It's like really weird.
It's such a change in tone, because I really think these two people are about to fight, and then all of a sudden you realize like they have history.
They're
together.
inviting each other dinner, and the Gabby's like, "Yeah, you can come as long as you bring a good side dish." And what is the deal with the son? Can the son not talk?
I think the son is supposed to be.
Is he mute?
Yeah, I think there's a developmental issue there, but they don't touch on it at all. All you get are a few little moments of him making
like growling and stuff,
grunts and everything.
Yeah, I was like, what is the deal here? But again, it ultimately doesn't matter.
No, none of it matters.
Okay, so I like this. Young Chris shows up at this boat that he got hired for, which is this guy.
The captain.
Tell me this is not a repressed homosexual.
Oh my god, this is the most theatrical gay man I've ever seen.
Who he reminded me of?
Nathan Lane in The Birdcage.
Okay, I was going to say Leslie, Beverly Leslie, Will and Grace. Rest in peace, Leslie Jordan. We love you. But this is, I was like, how does this guy have a daughter? His daughter, his sunbathing daughter. What's her name? Allison.
Who does literally nothing. She literally just sits there, fawn-eyed the entire time.
Oh my god, when I was looking at the IMDb page for this, the actress, I don't know what her name is, but her IMDb picture is literally her sunbathing on this boat, and I'm like, honey, come on, this was 50 years ago.
I mean, let her have the moment, because she sure don't talk, but she looks pretty. I thought she kind of looked like Chris with a wig on. They're both very sun-kissed. They're tan. They have the same brunette shag. She just has a longer variation. But they immediately are smitten with each other. And the captain is like stomping around like, I dare say. Like, it's like, he like literally is like the equivalent of like a 1920s villain, like twirling his mustache almost. Sans the actual like arc of being a villain. But he's very big. He's very over the top. He has a captain's hat and like board shorts. And again, I'm really thinking this guy is going to, have a real strong story arc in some way, shape, or form that leads to something, and B, do not tell me that this man doesn't die horribly. Like,
if he does,
we don't know it.
We don't know it.
And oh my god, this man is so set up to have just the most gruesome, like, oh dear, and he falls into the water, and, like, and they just swarm on him. But you know what? We don't get it, and that's again just not satisfied with the outcome.
Oh no, I mean, this whole subplot with Chris and Allison and Captain DuPont, totally unnecessary. It goes nowhere. I mean, it's fun to watch, this guy act all theatrical, but there's literally no point to it. You could remove every scene of this ensemble, this trio from the film, and it would not change anything.
Yeah, well, and like literally the only purpose Allison has the whole course of the movie is biting her lower lip. Like that's like all she does is like seduce Chris, but Chris doesn't even become a major playing character.
Chris does not even act like he's into her at first.
Well, that's because he wants to fuck his mother. Meanwhile, we then go back to Beverly. Like, there is so much that should really be developing with the storyline, and instead they keep going back to these secondary characters with no payoff. But they go back to Beverly. She's got a moment here coming up. First of all, her and this doctor, they're giving me real strong Little Shop of Horrors, Seymour and Audrey vibes because they're both played very cartoonish. So the doctor, she's got eyes for him, and she's telling her friend, she's like, "Oh, Cindy, watch, he's a doctor. I got to get his attention." And Cindy's like, "I don't know what you're going to do about it." Like, and so she's like, "Just watch me, I'll show you." So Beverly, in this bright red bathing suit, all eyes on her, she like frolics into the sea. And I don't know if this is part of her plan or if she actually injures herself, but she lets out what is I find to be a blood-curdling scream. It's very serious. And the doctor sees this happening and waddles into the water and saves her and carries her back.
But where's the lifeguard?
The lifeguard is off prepping to fuck
he banging
Mrs. Wilson, in my mind.
Because nobody seems to care that this woman is out in the sea screaming.
And so the doctor saves her, only for them to have this really big exaggerated dialogue in which she's like, "Oh, thank you. I know you're a doctor. I'm so happy you saved me." And he's like, "I'm not a doctor." And she's like, "You're not a doctor." And he's like, "I'm a dentist." She's like, "You're a dentist." It's so...
He's like, yeah. He's like, "Leo Bell, DDS, at your service." And he's so excited. And then they lean in for like this.
Oh my God, it's such a moment. Like, it is such a moment. And for Beverly, of all characters, not to get more of these moments, I am, again, livid. But the movie does finally start to go in one direction here in a moment.
Well, bless this woman for knowing how to lure her man. She's going to get her mans. She's going to pretend she's drowning.
She's literally feigning death, apparently, in order to have a man fall in love with her, but she does succeed. I mean, you see her later with cornrows and doing a dance of seduction like unlike I've ever seen in a movie.
Was that seduction?
For this woman, it is. And he seemed pleased as punch. Oh my God! But anyway, we got back on track. We got to get back on track. So we're skipping away from Beverly. She's got a new love interest. The annual Fish Fry Beach Festival, we learn, is coming up, in which they fill us all in on what the spawning is.
It's Raul. He is the club manager. I do want to mention this because I caught this right away. He has his employees kind of in the break room, and he's giving them the briefing on the activities for today. And did you notice he mentions that there's a Mr. Muscle competition going on that day, which he clearly and very sternly says, "And I'm judging that."
There are several characters in this film that I think unintentionally have these very deep-rooted homosexual undertones that I don't know why.
Was he so aggressive about telling I'm judging that?
Because he's the villain. Let's be clear. Raul is, if there is a human version of the Piranha in this movie, a human villain, it's Raul. He's the closest you come to it, and he is the same villain you see in every ocean/sea-based creature feature, in which there is always a mayor, a businessman, an investor, a park owner, whatever it may be, who refuses to shut down the event. Of course, Raul refuses to shut down the annual Fish Fry, as you will learn. But that's his storyline. He does fine with it. He's quite unlikable. Again, he does not get the death he deserves.
Well, I wanted to see this Mr. Muscle competition. We never get to see that either.
We don't get to see a lot of it.
We want fish. We want fish. I want muscle men. I want muscle men.
Don't you tell me that fish event doesn't look like something that you and I would have a fucking ball at. Down to the torches and the beating of the fish.
Oh my God! Don't even get me started.
We're getting off track.
Okay, so. Yeah, so then we learn about this giant fish fry that they were having that night by these. And he makes Anne tell the story about what this is, and I think they're called gunions.
Yeah,
grunions. And apparently, every one night a year, these fish think they're really doing something, and they swim to shore to find a mate, and they have sex on the beach, and the resort people beat them to death and put them in a frying pan.
It's
It's a depressing story.
It's
It
the
really
most.
is.
It did not go the direction I expected it to go when she started telling the story. But it is really one of the saddest aspects of the film is what they do to these poor grunions. Because when you see what an event it is, these people are hunting them down.
It's like Shirley Jackson's The Lottery. These townspeople are ready to go.
But so the annual fish fry is this big thing. The grunions are coming, and it is a key point that these things do come up on the beach. They mate there on the beach. They're able to come out of the water. You find out there is a key reason why this plays a factor and is actually tied into the main antagonist, the piranhas. This is worth acknowledging, this whole kind of fish event that's coming up. We then get introduced to more people. And this gal, I mean, I'm a gay man, but I gotta say, this Jay, Loretta and Jay, two damsels.
Loretta's beautiful. Loretta's gorgeous.
I also think that Jay, the dark-haired one, is stunning.
Oh, no. That's who I meant.
Oh,
I meant Jay. Loretta's fine. She's fine.
She's fine, but Jay's got the most beautiful...
exotic beauty,
the most beautiful nipples I've ever seen on celluloid.
Well, because of course they're topless. They're topless on a boat. And I was trying to gather what their story is. Are they pretending... Are they coming up with some like elaborate story that they've been stranded at sea? Because she's like writing in her journal and she's reading what she wrote to Loretta. And she's like, oh, we've been stranded for 4 days and we're out of food and water and we don't know what we're going to do. It lost. I don't know.
So I think that there is a certain element of truth to it in that there is this whole moment coming up where Jay sneaks into the event and steals food from it. This is like, that is their storyline. It's not much more than that, but I think that they're kind of floating within the vicinity and they decide to go over and steal things from this event because they have run out of some of their own supplies. Lesbians, by the way. I believe lesbians, absolutely lesbians.
They probably are.
Lovers, yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're also very shitty people because what they do to this poor amateur cook that we're going to be introduced to here named Mal, I liked him. He was so like... Okay, we'll get there.
We're getting
in the meantime, okay, so the sheriff shows up to the boat that Chris is working on and wants to talk to Chris. He like demands one of them come and talk to him. So Chris volunteers. And again, this came out of nowhere. We find out that the sheriff, Lance Henriksen, is Chris's father and the husband of Annie. It just like comes out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, interesting.
But I like this plot angle, to be honest.
I mean, I do, but to me, it really, from what I was gathering from their story, and maybe it was just me making up a backstory in my mind based on the first scene when Chris and Annie are talking, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I took this job because I have to, I have to save money, and they're giving me this place for free." And he's like, why can't we live in a house again and be normal people again? My mind was, okay, so she left her husband out in the mainland and they moved to this island because she got this job. Well, no, you find out that her husband is the sheriff of this island or whatever. So in my mind, I was like, this is kind of a weird thing to introduce, that her husband is the sheriff here, when it was sort of insinuated, at least in my mind, that her and Chris just left her husband and moved to this town and she got this job and that's why they were staying at this hotel. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into Piranha 2, but I felt like it was a weird plot.
Well, your confusion makes sense because it's a Caribbean resort hotel. So it's not, I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, I don't know where this very Caucasian family, if this is like where I would imagine them living if they weren't involved with this hotel, but he's also like the area police, the sheriff and everything. Yeah, it's a weird angle. They don't feel exactly like they fit within the area.
No, and I kind of just didn't buy them as husband and wife either. Their dynamic was off a little bit. They never really seemed to be like that they had a history together. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a couple moments where you see them like they're starting to get over their issue. And God, I wish that they would have given them a few more moments because neither of them are actually bad. Like, I think Annie's actually a reasonably likable female protagonist. She's focused. She's determined to solve the issue. She's got harpoons in hand. And Steve is all of the cliche angry sheriff traits, but he's not played poorly. They just aren't given enough time to really flesh out their relationship because she has another male interest, which in the form of Tyler, that really I think takes away from some of Steve's development.
You're right. They weren't given a lot of time for the relationship to develop, but I also just feel like there's a lack of chemistry maybe between the two actors. I do feel like Annie has a lot more chemistry with the Tyler character than it ever seems she has with the Steve character, who's supposed to be her husband. You know, that they have a child together, who's this, however old this child's supposed to be. It was just weird. It was really weird. It kind of struck me very odd when you find out that this is the father. But he's kind of scolding Chris. He's like, "You need to tell DuPont to keep that radio on. I need to be able to get a hold of you whenever I need to." So, and then he drops Chris back at the boat. DuPont comes out. He's like, "Oh, what was that all about?" And Chris is like, "Oh, he wanted to strip search the boat for drugs, but I took care of it." And then we do get this moment of Sheriff Steve running into Annie. And again, it just doesn't ring like they are a couple. He's like, "Oh, Annie, how have you been doing?" And they just have this weird, awkward conversation that ultimately is the whole point of it is him asking about this dinghy that's missing, which is the one that the couple from the opening of the film took. He found it tied up still out in the middle of the ocean or whatever. Again, very just weird. There's no like dynamic between the two.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do like the way that opening kill does kind of like come into play in the sense that he's found the dinghy, which is what brings you to the area of the Fitzgerald wreck. That's the name of the wreck. And you will find that this is it's either this or the resort. If you're not the resort, you're in that goddamn wreck. So all eyes are on this wreck now. And so you do have this tiny little moment between them, but it's like these little like brief sequences of them together that don't really go anywhere. It is really all the more on Tyler, which is like such a strange call. I feel you on that.
Well, this is the scene where the lovely Jay sneaks into the resort kitchen to steal some food, and she's just going to town. Like, she's not trying to be covert about this at all. She has a big old box. She's filling it up with anything she can get her hands on until Mal comes out, who is an amateur chef who works at the resort, and confronts her about what she's doing. And in definitely cliched fashion, she's able to, calm him down by promising him that if he doesn't tell anybody and lets her go, that he can come out to the boat at 6 o'clock that evening and meet her in Loretta. And then she makes the little comment to him, "Have you ever been with two women at once?" He's like, "Oh, it's a date."
I feel like this is such a trope scenario in which you have like,
well, the way he's portrayed too.
and yet, well, that's what I'm saying is that she's portrayed to be one extreme, beautiful and conniving. And he's portrayed to be like a big dumb oaf. And he doesn't feel at all realistic or believable. He's very much like, "Oh, my name's Mel." And it seems very much a stereotype, very much something I picture of the era. This whole like gag coming up between them, that's about to come up when he gets to the dock and everything. It does seem very much like they literally wrote this moment in simply for them to have this whole gag of someone like falling in as a boat pulls away. You'll hear about it in a moment, listeners. But that's really like all you get from these characters. And then you never see Mal again.
No, you never see him again. And he does something very smart though. He agrees because he wants sex, because that's what she says to him. He's like, "Oh, it's a date." And he grabs the food from her and he's like, "Oh, I'll make you something for dinner because I'm an amateur chef. Give me the food pack." So he doesn't let her leave with the food, which I thought, okay, smart move, because if she would have left with the food, you would have never saw her again. But again, yeah, the way he's portrayed, he's stuttering. It kind of reminds me of like Billy Bibbit from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but a little bit more, like you said, doofy. And it just felt really uncomfortable because the actor was, you could totally tell the actor was acting, and I know that sounds odd, but it just didn't ring. It rang kind of almost to the point of a little bit being, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say offensive, but just maybe poor taste.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It feels almost like they're trying to play him off as like simple. Kind of like an Officer Doofy from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
That's to the extreme that they're playing him almost. And so it just isn't really flattering. I feel like it's unnecessary. It really goes really nowhere other than, like I said, that gag. And another thing that irritates me is Jay's dialogue is clearly dubbed, and it's actually credited as dubbed online. You can find the information, the actress that did the voice. It's dubbed the whole movie, and it's really distracting because this girl's gorgeous, but it's clearly like not her voice coming out of her. So luckily, she's not in a ton of scenes because it does pull me out of the moment.
Well, I did read that the producer hired a bunch of actor and crew that did not speak English, which caused a huge rift between the cast and crew and James Cameron, who was trying to direct. And if the stories are true that he was fired after 2 weeks, I think that had a lot to do with it because the communication was just not it was not possible. So it was to save money or something. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of dubbing in this film, which is odd considering it is a James Cameron film, even though it's his first one, and it's a little jarring. It's a little jarring, to be honest with you. We cut to Annie, who is prepping her dive class, who is about to go down to this sunken Navy ship to explore, but they can't go in it. And there's like this obnoxious guy in the class. He's like, "We can't go in it." Well, that stinks. This sucks. And we get Tyler there, who is the one that flirted with Annie at the beginning of the film, who sent her the little note. And she notices him and she asks him right away. She's like, "Why are you here? You seem like you're a great diver. Why are you in this class?" He said, "Oh, I'm bored. And I heard the instructor was cute."
A flirtation, and that flirtation continues for a hot minute here.
Oh, he has this dude has some corny lines that I could have done without. Like he says, "Do you dive on the first date?"
Oh my god, Annie is a classy lady. I mean, come on now. Don't try pulling that shit with her. She's leading a goddamn dive class.
Although she does put out on their first date.
I mean, a woman needs what a woman needs. But so Annie's leading this dive class. She's capable. She's competent. Annie's got her shit together. I like how she's handled over the course of the film. She makes a few weird choices, but she's just a well-handled character. I like her being in a position where she's kind of the one in power leading this class down there. She's a skilled diver. So she takes this group down. She notices as they're swimming through this wreck that one of the divers does still go into the boat. And because she was like, "Don't fucking do it," and they go in.
It's that douche. It's the douche in the audience that was like questioned her, wasn't it? Is that who it was?
Yeah. And so I think his name is maybe Robert. They mentioned it at one point.
Yeah.
And so she follows him, and when she goes in through the boat, you have this pretty effective sequence in which she discovers the partially devoured body of Robert inside.
I know. They certainly devoured him pretty quickly because I hadn't been down there that long.
I mean, she literally follows like right behind him. She's not too far behind. And I'm also surprised that if he's been devoured that quickly, why do they not find her and start devouring her? Like, are they hiding from her? How does she avoid death? But either way, the fish managed to flee the scene. They're nowhere to be seen. Nobody knows how this happened. She doesn't actually see a fish. She just finds the body. But it's a well done body. You see it multiple times over the course of the movie, and this guy looks heavily mutilated.
Well, yeah, as he would by being attacked by a school of these crazy fish. And like you said, yeah, they just disappear. Like, do they not know that there's a whole bunch of people down there that are food for them if these are supposed to be like ultimate killing machines?
I love how mysterious these piranha are.
The sheriff, of course, is informed that they found a dead body in the water during this dive. So he goes to interrogate Annie, who is being consoled by Tyler. And this is when the sheriff is like, "Was it an eel? Was it a shark? Did you see anything?" She's like, "No, it was none of them." And he's being like real aggressive towards her. And she's like, "I just want to see the body." And he says, "No, you can't see the body." And she questions why. And he's like, "Because you are responsible. And if there's a lawsuit or something for negligence, you're going to be the one that's responsible. And this can be used for evidence. So you cannot see this body."
Yeah, she could be held liable, which is honestly a valid point. But she's also like convinced
you can't let people you can't just let people go around seeing bodies, you know?
Yeah, just because she's the diver doesn't mean she has a room to be seeing the body. But of course she wants to make sure, like, A, that her name is cleared, and B, she's genuinely curious because she's like, I have no fucking idea what could have done that. It just doesn't make sense. I also want to bring up that a majority of the scenes that you get Tyler in, he's in these very short shorts, if not a Speedo.
Which I'm okay with.
Good.
I'm okay with.
Yeah, he looks good in them. He looks real good in them.
And this is also when Tyler asks, "Well, who's that guy?" And she has to tell him it's her husband. And then we get the scene where Mal has come out. He's comes to the ship that has, or the boat that has Jay and Loretta on it, and he's cooked them this fabulous dinner, or we can assume it is. And it's just, again, stupid scene, pointless. It's supposed to be comedic. It's not. They trick him into handing them the box and then untying the boat, and they're like, "Oh, jump in," and he's like, "Oh, it's too far." And he's just like this bumbling idiot, and he does jump in and lands in the water, and they laugh at him, and they're like, "Oh, see you later, asshole." And it's just like, was this really necessary?
Are people really that mean? But I mean, I guess also considering that these gals, I mean, let's be real, they meet their demise very soon. I mean, they're the kind of people I do want to see get their comeuppance.
Well, they get
Shitty
it.
women, they get it. How they get it. It's very unexpected. They have no idea what's coming when they get it. So let's be clear. But yeah, poor Mal. And you never see him again, like we said. Like there's no closure to the character. Nobody comforts him after he's highly embarrassed. Poor fucking Mal. So Tyler is attempting to convince Anne to go, or Annie, Annie, they call her both, to go for a drink. They meet up in like a lovely like alleyway of the town. She's walking down this cobblestone path. He encounters her, and he's trying to get her to take her for a drink, and he's trying to seduce her, and she's being very standoffish at first, but she gives in because he's being persistent. So she buys into it. And I actually kind of start to like a little bit of what develops between them, because I do think Tyler is one of the better actors in the film. So they do have this like kind of flirtation that's developing. I feel it makes him more likable than Steven. What do you think?
I definitely prefer Tyler to Steven, and so towards the end of the film, with what happens, it really pissed me off.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, because it was almost that type of death is sort of reserved for a secondary character, and the way they just did it, the way they handled Tyler at the end of the film, I was not okay with, because he is very charming, even though you do find out that he has ulterior motives. He's still charming. He's still saying the right things to her. He's like, I just want to spend time with you. That's all. I don't care what we do. Just let me spend time with you. And so she agrees, and she's like, okay, just follow me then. And she takes him on their first date, quote unquote, to the morgue, where she is going to break in with her American Express card or MasterCard and go into the morgue to take pictures of the body, because this is how determined Annie is. She needs to know what caused this to the diver, because she feels like she was responsible for him. You got to give her kudos. But she's taking pictures of this body. He's making wisecracks. When all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this nurse comes in.
Star of the fucking movie. I love this
Oh,
woman.
and she's like, you guys get out of here. I'm tired of people coming in here. We had people from Halloween come in, and she kicks them out.
Oh, she's not fucking around this one. She is not too pleased to find them taking photos of that body. But Annie does get several photos, and so they manage to get what they need. And so she like chases them out with like a broom. And after they leave, I gotta say, I don't fully understand the logistics of what happens here from multiple angles. So this woman, she's pissed, and she is looking at the body, and she realizes that the cloth on it, like that was used to cover it, has been pulled off, and it's caught under the wheel. So she like bends down to pull the cloth out, and she stands up, and you do get several really good shots of the corpse, like how devoured it is at this point, because it's down to the bone in several areas. And you also see it when the photos are being taken too. It's very Texas Chainsaw, because every time the camera flashes, you get a close-up of the body. So this lovely nurse, who's over it, she stands up, she's looking at the body, and from what appears to be the innards of the body, as in the guttural area, is a fish. Is a piranha, and it popped his head out, and it's like, and I get it. I get that we learn that these fish can like get out of the sea and like be exposed to the air and be okay for a certain period of time. But this thing has been in this body for what I'm assuming to be multiple hours. Is it like, can these things just like exist on land, like unlimited? I don't know. I'm asking too many questions. I'm overthinking it. But so the nurse sees this fish. It shrieks at her, and it proceeds to lunge, like violently lunge at this woman's throat. and I don't know what it is about these piranha, but they are pre-programmed and have a full understanding to go for the jugular every
Uh-huh.
time.
Oh yeah. And so yeah, it attacks this poor woman and rips her throat out right there on the morgue floor. And then it proceeds to jump off the fly out the window.
This fish is maniacal. It knows exactly what it's doing. These are the smartest fucking fish I've ever seen. And I mean, I gotta admit that there's something really entertaining to me about seeing these fish just flying through the sky, biting people in the throats. Like, it gives me exactly what I want from this movie. So I can't
While they're
complain about it.
chirping.
While they're chirping, they just go, they're diving at throats. And a lot of times the kills feel a little overcut, but there's oftentimes that you get some really gory shots of like throats being ripped open. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
still effective in a way. What do you think?
Oh, I love some of the kill scenes, and especially towards the end. That, well, I don't know if you want to call it the grand massacre, because it was pretty. It was okay. I was expecting a lot more based on the buildup. There are some cool shots of like the after effects of the throats being ripped out with like blood gurgling out of ripped throats and stuff. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's a film about flying piranhas. I don't know what they could have done in 1981, but what they do is entertaining. I don't know. So Annie, back in her suite, is looking at these pictures, and she is like, I still can't figure out what did this. Tyler suggests that maybe it was a new species that she just doesn't know about. And she's like, oh, you're right, And then she does tell the story that you alluded to at the beginning of the episode about the Army creating a killer fish that they specifically dumped in the rivers of Vietnam to screw up their river system. And she mentions that a bunch of them escaped from their tank and killed a lot of civilians. So you do get the story, and this is when I was questioning. I was like, okay, is this like the plot of the first one?
Yeah, I definitely think it's kind of loosely associated with it, but I don't think you need to sit down and watch both of these one after another to make sense of the story.
I would hope the story's not that elaborate.
Let's be real.
Yeah. And then this is out of nowhere where she does ask Tyler to stay the night with her, and she even says, we don't have to make love or anything, but they do.
Girl, when you're saying to me, we don't have to make love or anything, to me that's saying bang it out, go to work, get to work. And he does. He gets to fucking work.
Take those little, fuck me shorts off and pound me.
Back to the lesbian lovers for a minute. Let's get back to these two. I say lesbians because these gals, I don't think that they own more than one top that they share as needed. Because when it's not for Jay going out and stealing things, these women are topless 24/7, but I get it. What a free life that must be, just sitting on ships, knockers out to the wind. And so they're just laying out after what I'm assuming to be a delicious meal. And right away, like, it's not like there's much of a buildup. Loretta's sitting there just admiring the night sky, and the sea starts churning around the boat, and none of them really notice what's going on, but one of these flying fish hits the window of the boat, and Jay's like, Loretta, what was that? And so Loretta like waddles around the boat, and she's up against like the sail, she's looking around, and then out of fucking nowhere, from right off the side of the camera, a piranha just swoops in and starts gnawing at this gal's throat. And it's just devouring her. I mean, this fish flew out of the sea.
It pops through the sail.
Oh, it does.
I love that
effect. It rips. You're right.
It rips through
right off the corner, like out of nowhere. It just appears out of nowhere and starts eating this woman's throat. And poor Loretta, I mean, she gets the worst of it in this movie. She falls right into the ocean, and they just start devouring her.
Oh, and you get Jay grabbing that pole.
Loretta!
She's like, grab that pole. What in God is happening? Loretta!
Pull yourself out! But then she's attacked by a piranha.
She's attacked. One of them comes out of nowhere and bites her throat. She's like,
and it takes her down right there on the boat. She just drops. She drops. I gotta say, these piranha, when it comes to the piranha of the sky, when they're not in the sea, but they're actually like on land, these piranha are very wasteful. They take a chunk or two out of the throat. and then
and then
they're
they're gone.
gone, and they're like people. There are full meals waiting here. Go tell your other piranha. Go tell this rest of the school to come and find this woman. At least put the rest of her to use. But no, they take a couple bites and they're gone. And so that's the end of that. Now these two women are dead.
Yeah, they are dead. And this is also when, right after this happens, good old sheriff, for some reason, goes to the morgue and finds the dead nurse. And he also finds Annie's credit cards. So he knows that she was there. So he goes back to the hotel room to confront her. And of course, she's in bed with Tyler. They're both naked. And he is none too happy. He like fucking scolds her and says, "You are, this was your fault. This is what I found at the morgue, and you don't have any room to talk to me because I have 3 dead people here and you were the last to see all of them. And I don't want to hear no bullshit about a fish."
Well, there's this great moment when Steve like arrives at Annie's house and he like, or her suite, and he enters and he like walks up to the bedroom and you just see Tyler who's awake, and Tyler like doesn't know what to do, so he just like waves at him. And Steve like storms out. But yeah, they have like a nice little argument between the two of them where she's just adamant. She's like, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm going to prove it's these fish. She's like, you keep away from the fish and you keep away from the bodies. And he yells at her and he stomps out.
Yeah, and that's like what is she left to do is put on this sensible little, short ensemble and tell Steve or tell Tyler that, hey, there's breakfast in the refrigerator if you're hungry. I have some business to go take care of. So her business is to go talk to Raul. And she's being very sensitive. She's like, listen, because of the accident yesterday, I'm canceling the dive. I don't think we should have any water activities, honestly. And he tells her she's being ridiculous because I am booked. The dives are booked. The water activities are booked full. This is ridiculous. And she's like, well, no, I really think we need to do this for the safety. And what does he do? He fires her. He's like, you know what, Annie, you're fired. And I want you out of that suite by tomorrow morning.
He says, you're sticking up a red hot poker up my ass by canceling right now. Very gay line, again, with the homoerotic undertones. But yeah, he's a fucking asshole. He straight up, he just fires her, and really bitchily, he's like, and I could use you, sweet, so make sure that you're evacuated by the morning. He's such a little bitch about it. But Annie she's annoyed, but she's a woman on a mission.
She is a woman on a mission, and she actually goes on a mission. She's like, you know what? I'm going to prove to this fucker that these things exist. So she goes out to the river or the ocean to do the dive to the sunken ship again. In the meantime, as she's doing that, Tyler calls someone, and you get this conversation where you find out that he is basically like a marine biologist or something, and he knows about these fish, and he knows that she is beginning to catch on, and he tells this person, hey, we can use this to our advantage because if she's the one that blows the whistle, then our asses will be off the line. So now you get this, I guess, sort of complex, maybe I guess as complex as you're going to get with this film, little motivation for why he was so like adamant on getting Annie in the first place. It's not because he really likes her. It's because he knows that he can use her to his advantage.
But I also do think that he genuinely starts to become fond of her, because I don't feel by the end of it, I don't feel like he's looking to hurt her or any way. He doesn't want her to be hurt. He's just trying to find a solution. But they do play his character with a little bit of grace towards the end of the movie. He's not a complete asshole.
No, but it was sort of like an element that was thrown in there, and so his character immediately becomes less likable. Right?
He does.
Because
and she gets pissed.
Yeah, he has an ulterior motive. Well, yeah, because she goes down for this dive. She gets to she goes down there with her harpoon. This is when she's armed with her harpoon. She swims down to this, this wreckage when she finds the piranhas eating this head, right? They're just feasting on this head, and they hear her and they turn towards her. But right in the nick of time, Tyler, for some reason, is down there, is able to save her and pull her out of the ocean onto the boat. And this is when he tells her, hey, she's like, how do you know about all this stuff? Why are you here? And he's like, I got to be honest with you. I'm a biochemist. There were 4 containers of these piranha eggs that were in the ship that sank. And she immediately is like, "You fucking asshole! You knew about this all along, and you haven't told me." And he's like, "Well, I can't tell you. It's classified information." And she's like, "You, there's people that are dead. You better start spilling it." So he does say, "Okay, so I was involved in this thing where several species were spliced together." And they wanted to create like the perfect killing machine. So they wanted to take the like the piranha traits, the grunion traits, and then make them fly, make them adaptable, so they didn't have to just be in water, that they could live in land. She's like, "Well, you got to help me," and he's like, "No, you can't even tell anybody that I'm here." And she's like, "Well, you better help me now and get the hell out of my way."
I love her. I love her. I love how determined she is. And I gotta say, I don't know what scientist or biochemist or whatever it takes to come up with this idea. I don't know who thought that making kill, killer fish that can exist on land. I don't know who thought that was smart on any account. I don't care if you're using it as a weapon. Why would you bring that into the world? Because to me, fish are not creatures that can reason. They're not creatures that you can train. They're not flying fish. It's not like you can instruct them on what to do. You're going to create them, and they're just going to fly up, and they're going to start eating people. They're not going to care who they're eating. They're not going to know who to target certain people. So I think this was a really poor choice on the military's behalf.
Obviously, it was a poor choice. It's look how many people have been killed by these things. It's just willy nilly. They're just randomly attacking topless women. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the big question with this film, is if you're trying to take it seriously, like, is the military really going to sit there and think, oh, what is a creature that we can make a hybrid of that would really terrorize a group, our enemies? And would a piranha, would a fish be the first thing you thought of? Wouldn't you think of like, oh, we need some hybrid tigers, or some wolves or something? I would not think a piranha or a fish is going, or especially a grunion, is going to be that intimidating.
Well, maybe that's the point. They're unassuming. Like, I wouldn't expect, if I'm out in the middle of Vietnam and I'm just standing by the edge of the ocean, I am not going to expect or anticipate it when multiple fish fly from the sea and eat me. I'm not even going to be prepared. I won't be able to shoot them.
But how do you control them if you're the military?
That's the problem.
What is your purpose? What is your ultimate goal when you release these thousands of flying piranha upon your enemy?
That's where they overlook something, though.
How are the piranhas going to distinguish what's an enemy and what's not?
Well,
I mean, they're eating perfectly good people here.
That's definitely where there was somebody on the scientific lab research team needs to be fired, because this is a problem. I want to go back real quick. There's a moment that I actually thought was really effective. It was the moment where you found the head being devoured. And I got to say, for a movie that really doesn't always hit when it comes to some of the effects, that shot of that fleshy skull head being gnawed upon. But
whose head was it?
I think it's Loretta.
Oh, is it Loretta?
Because she got pulled to the bottom of the sea. I remember their boat was right above. It was because they were floating in that area. But still, I mean, it was a gross shot.
It looks great. It really is a good effect. It really cool. It really is cool. They're like picking at it, and you see it. Yeah, you see it kind of roll around and like flesh coming off of it and floating into little chunks. It's really gross. But after this, you get Mr. DuPont's grand finale. You get one more scene with Mr. DuPont before we never see him again. And it's a doozy, because Sheriff Steve is in his helicopter and he goes to the boat and he has to radio down or use the radio or the bullhorn or whatever it's called to wake DuPont up. And DuPont comes to the edge of his boat all flustered. He's like, what did I do wrong?
And these two men are literally screaming at each other from boat to chopper, just like fully screaming over the pulsing blades of the helicopter. And it is a overwhelming scene. It comes out of nowhere, and this helicopter comes into play multiple times. This helicopter has quite a grand finale, by the way. And yeah, it's just a weird scene, and this really is the last time you see DuPont. So it is strange that you leave him just hanging on this note.
And it is the point where you find like the purpose of the sheriff going to this boat was to get Chris. And we find out that Chris and Allison are no longer on the boat, that they must have taken the dinghy to go exploring. So they're gone. And poor, DuPont is like, if you find my daughter, please let me know ASAP. And yeah, that's the last you hear about him. or that's the last you hear from him. You never hear from Portapon again.
Back at the hotel, Ralph and Myrna, the couple, are simply enchanted by this resort. They are taking photos. She's demanding it that they take photos of this resort, and he keeps taking more and more. He's like, this one's for your family, this one's for the girls at work, this one's from, it's the same fucking photo every time, her just posing with this thing. And then Raul comes over and he informs them of all these lovely perks of this event, including a dinner that's a gift from the sea, which when you think about it, like they have to kill these fish. It is sad. But then we get that fucking free meal where Ralph is like, well, is it free? Does it come with the hotel? And again, this is the only plot point this character has because we don't have anything else with them.
They had package B, so indeed one drink and some appetizers come with this gathering tonight, because he's like, and you better have a snack because it's going to be after midnight.
Yeah, I mean, people are coming in hungry for this event, I assure you. Wait till you see it. So after we have this moment, Steve is shown by Gabby. Remember Gabby earlier throwing the grenades the TNT into the sea? Steve is shown that his fishing nets were pulled back and they're shredded. And the few fish that are caught within the nets are like clearly, violently, partially devoured. So Gabby is like, there is definitely something going on here. I find that Gabby's scenes here coming up are edited really like weird. They're brief. They're real fast. I don't know if this actor just couldn't carry it or what, but I mean, they cut it down to the bare bones.
I don't know what it is. I'm assuming probably a combination of things, because this actor doesn't really emote very well, even when like he finds his son coming up in what's supposed to be probably a traumatic, depressing, just sad scene, and he doesn't sell it at all. So I think it probably was like, oh yeah, let's just do as least amount of possible with this character as we can, because and can we talk about his death scene when we get there too?
Oh, we got some issues with that fucking sequence. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So Annie is trying to convince Raul that they're in the boardroom, and she's trying to convince him that these fish exist. And he says, I don't care. We can't stop the beach activities because it would be like cutting my nuts off.
It'll fiscally cut his nuts off.
Fiscally cut his... Yeah. And the sheriff... And Raul's like, Sheriff, you're a reasonable man, aren't you? And the sheriff's response is, you're still full of shit, Raul. And he takes out a Ziploc bag in which presumably it's a wing.
Well, it's one of the fish wings. It is a big extended like fish like flipper or whatever it is.
It's in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, it's in a Ziploc bag.
But it doesn't really prove anything. Like if I was Raul, I'd be like, okay, it's a wing. Where you could have made it. It looks like it's paper mache. I don't know. So I really can't blame Raul for being like, oh, okay. Because Raul is like, oh, well, you know what? Okay, whatever. But I have business to tend to. Sorry. And he leaves. It is a moment between the sheriff and Annie when he kind of like winks at her, saying like, I got your back. Don't worry. I'm starting to realize that you might be right.
It seems like they start to kind of form not a relationship again, but as you know, as a separated couple, they start to trust each other again. And I do appreciate that angle. They needed that because it's really just been all bickering up to this point. We are now coming on to a scene involving Gabby's son, which is out of fucking nowhere. But honestly, as strange of a setup as it may be, I enjoy this scene.
Well, he gets his moment, at least even though he doesn't have a name or dialogue, he gets a moment.
Yeah.
He gets a moment. Yeah, he's cleaning up. He's cleaning up the boat dock area, and he has to wash his hands, and he has to take his watch off because, again, watches weren't waterproof back then. So he sets it on the edge of the sink, and he's washing his hands. And as he's drying his hands, he accidentally knocks the watch into the giant sink. So he has to reach down and grab it. And as he gets it and pulls it up, a piranha just
comes out of the sink.
Comes out of the sink, and again latches onto this poor kid's throat, and it's pretty violent. This one's pretty violent. It's you can see it like gnawing, and blood is gushing everywhere. And this is a kid, and he falls into this sink, and I'm assuming is devoured by this piranha, although his body is found by his father here in a bit. So it's an interesting scene. I like it. I like the execution of it. To be honest with you, it's probably the best executed death scene in the entire film, even though anytime you get any of the piranhas that are flying out, it looks so ridiculously fake. But I like the build up to this one.
Yeah, I feel like this is a movie which like it's really hard to build suspense with these creatures. Like they are just so obviously fake rubber fish, but somehow some way they still manage to craft these scenes. I guess it must be James Cameron. Um, they craft them still in a way that manages to have like at times developing suspense. And this has the most of it. You're absolutely right. This moment definitely like is the longest, most drawn out moment. You know something's going to happen. He reaches into the water. You think he's going to get grabbed, then he finds the watch, and then he gets attacked. And yeah, it's a rather effective moment. I really enjoyed the scene. This is the scene that I saw years ago when I was a kid and kept my interest in this movie because I remember as a kid I found this scene really terrifying. And so I've always remembered this moment from this film, which has caused me to come back to it a few times. And it still kind of packs a punch in a way.
Well, I can see that. I can see it because it's supposed to be a kid and the actor looks fairly young. It's not like this is a 35-year-old playing a kid. It looks like, this kid looks like he's a teenager. So your mind as a viewer, because we are not used to seeing movies kill kids, or characters that are supposed to be kids, your mind is like, oh, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to, and then all of a sudden, yeah. And it's in a very brutal, bloody way. So yeah, I could see where this totally would catch you off guard as a kid. And you'd be like, damn, I'd be scared to wash my hands in a tub of water again. It's one of those things. It's the build up because there is a build up of him like just doing various tasks, like straightening the nets up, doing everything before he actually gets to this point. So I do like the buildup. It's slow, it's deliberate. But then, yeah, that fucking piranha comes out of nowhere.
And then more come. You start to get the shot. This is really the first time you start to get the wide shots of the piranha emerging from the sea and like flying into the air. Because now you know they're flying.
Oh, they're flying everywhere.
And so you start to get some really dramatic shots of them like flying across the screen. It's really everything I needed from this movie. I am not at all disappointed with the volume of flying piranha.
Okay, and so we have all this excitement. We have this poor child being mutilated by piranhas. We have piranhas flying out of the ocean. We have the squeals. We have the everything. And then we cut to Chris and Allison on a deserted island. Is this fucking Blue Lagoon?
Making out fully clothed under a rushing waterfall. What the fuck? This came out of nowhere. This is like a flying piranha to the face, this scene. They're like rubbing up on each other under the like rushing, cascading waves, like waterfall that's plowing down on them, but they still got all their clothing on. It's real weird.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the scene. We find out that Chris and Allison have been on this island making out the entire time. And then they do have this like little chase scene where he's like, I don't even know what he says. Whatever. It doesn't matter because these characters don't fucking matter. There is now the emotional moment where Gabby finds his son floating in this sink. Again, I don't know. I mean, the actor really doesn't do much to sell his grief, but I guess it's sad, right?
Well, I think one of the things for this moment specifically that I found real weird is there's like real no build up to the discovery of the body.
No.
Like it comes up like the body emerges from the sink. It looks good.
He's standing right next to the sink and the body just pops up. There's no like, oh, he's walking slowly to the sink. What's he going to find? No, it's just the scene literally cuts to the body. You see the body float to the surface and the dad is standing right there.
This scene could have, in my mind, been edited to be so much more of an impactful moment because I think the footage is there in some of these shots. Like I said, the body looks really great. It's just missing a throat. I mean, not much has been eaten off of it, but it's really creepy seeing this kid like floating up out of the water. It's a creepy shot. So it's disappointing that they didn't let this be more of a thing. But yeah, maybe it was a matter of the actor. Who knows? I'll take it for what it is.
Yeah, so we get a scene now with Steve and Annie that he is talking to her about. He was able to get a hold finally of somebody at the State Department about Tyler Sherman, and they told him that Tyler Sherman basically is crazy and that he was let go from the project because he was so unstable. And he's like, I knew I didn't like that guy. And you're thinking to yourself, well, you know what? That's probably what they are going to tell you because they don't want you to believe what he's saying if they're negligent, right? In the meantime, Gabby is playing with this contraption, which we later gather is a bomb that he's setting to go off at 6:30 in the morning. And then this party, let me tell you, Roger, we're to the meat of this fucking resort's weekend because they are having this party. It's in full swing.
Woo! I mean, this seaside party, it's folks, it's all been coming down to this. This moment looks like my kind of jam, let me tell you. And the Piranha know it. The Piranha are waiting in the wings, waiting to strike. But you literally have people lining up with beating sticks that will obviously be used to beat these fish. And they are preparing to beat these damn grunions as that old bat, Mrs. Wilson. She's showing up, makeup and tits up.
I love her little cat suit she has.
Oh my god! And she's got
that black and white skin kite tech. Oh, I can wear that.
Okay, so everyone's ready to beat the fish, but you do get like a little moment where you're kind of like revisiting the random featured day players that we were introduced to, and so you go back to Mrs. Wilson. She's on the prowl. She's looking for, is it like Ronnie or whatever the name of that guy is?
Ronnie.
She's ready to fuck him. She's got oysters and champagne. And then you come back to Brenda as well. And she's got cornrows. You notice that? She's got cornrows now.
But I don't know. Brenda and what the fuck is the other guy's name?
So Mrs. Wilson sachets over to Ronnie's suite. She knocks on the glass door. He slides it open. He's in nothing but his skibbies. And she's all about it. She's like, oh, Ronnie. She's like, I brought you oysters and champagne. But just be warned, they're an aphrodisiac. And that's when that blonde floozy Cindy with the man voice shows up, and she's like, hi, Mrs. Wilson. And Mr. Wilson's like, oh, damn. So she gets out of there. But yeah,
she says, I have the wrong robe.
I have the wrong robe. Yeah. And so you're really thinking that you are going to be treated to something that features all these fuckers because they're brought back to the spotlight again.
You're not, unfortunately. You're not. What happens is, these people are lined up. And I saw this, and they are literally having clubs in their hand. Even kids, the kids have clubs in their hands. And in the meantime, we have some random deputy named Aaron who's out on the prowl looking to make sure there's no trouble brewing by the edge of the ocean. And, Stevens keeps walkie-talking him, and so does Annie as he's patrolling the beachfront, but he is dragged into the water. I don't know.
Let's talk about this moment real quick. I love what happens to this guy because I have no idea who he is, but they're walking at him. And then he's walking along the beach as the people are gathering for the grunions. And he looks over and he sees the sea boiling and surging. And so he starts to walk towards it. And then it cuts back. It cuts back to the people on the beach. And Raoul's like, yes, let's get ready. We're going to eat the grunions. He's revving them up. And then it cuts back. And Aaron now emerges from the sea, and he is partially devoured, but alive. But honestly, the makeup looks great, but this man has no business being alive. He is literally eaten down to the bone in areas of his body. And so he stumbles over to the walkie-talkie, which is on a rock, but right before he's able to grab it, apparently the fish grab him and drag him across the beach into the sea. If they can do this, they are legitimately terrifying.
Yeah, they're having none of him trying to get to shore. They pull him right back into the sea.
Oh, no. These fish, they're not fucking around. These fish, I think, have to be sentient because some of the choices they make are honestly very intentional and well planned out. coming down to this fucking Grunion event that's about to happen.
Yeah, so all of the people are there with their clubs. The Raul's like, okay, let's get this started, and this is when they start chanting, "We want fish, we want,
we want fish." There's Rastafarian music playing too. He's like, cue the bongos, and so it's like, dun, 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 dun,
we want fish,
and like you got fish, we want fish, and the energy's building. Like I will tell you, listeners, say what you fucking want about Piranha 2 the spawning, but when it's coming down to this moment, I'm right on board with what's about to happen. I know there's about to be a feeding, and they do a really good job of building up to it. I'm not going to say what comes from it is necessarily disappointing, but God, I wish it was like 10 minutes of it.
And what happens is basically as they get down to the shoreline, the fish, the piranha start attacking them. They start flying out of the water and attacking. So you literally get maybe about 40 seconds of random people we've never seen before being shown with piranhas attached to their necks, like grabbing out, and everyone's running inside. It's chaos. Right before this happened, though, we do get a shot of Gabby. I forgot to mention this. Gabby carrying his dead son out.
Oh yeah.
And then Annie sees him, and she goes up to him, and he's like, "They got my son. I'm gonna kill the fish."
That literally is like what he says. He's like, "I'm gonna kill the fish," and he's got a tear rolling down his cheek, and Annie tries to comfort him. And I think that in the sense of, again, building up to this moment, everything is kind of coming to a climax right now, which I really like about the pacing of this moment, because she's realizing, oh fuck, these fish are actually eating people. It really is all true. He's got dynamite ready to blow up at 6:30 a.m. and he's like all about it. And meanwhile, outside, you have just all these people just ready to feed, only for them to become the feast. So it is really fun.
It is. I wish, though, my biggest gripe with this film is this ending could have been a lot more. Just a lot more. It's so quick, and you have all of these victims. Like, this is a huge party. This beach is full of people who are chanting, "We want fish," and we only literally see maybe 3 people get killed. Now we do see the aftermath of some of the bodies laying on the shore, but like this is quick, guys, and this is supposed to be like the big buildup. This is the moment we all have been waiting for. We've been hearing about this spawning event since the start of the film. We knew something. We knew this was going to happen, so the anticipation for how that was going to be executed for me was really high. Like I was expecting something along the lines of the opening scene of Alexander Aja's remake of Piranha, when they attack and you get just that carnage for what seems like 15 minutes. This is quick. It's over within 40 seconds. I really was disappointed that it happened so quickly. And I mean, I know looking at the budget now, it's understandable. They did what they could. And like I said, you do get some really close-up shots of dead bodies laying on the beach with like their throats squirting out blood and like eyeballs ripped out and stuff. So that's effective. But overall, this moment, as fun as it is for 40 seconds, was too brief for me for everything that we've watched up until this point.
Oh, I think the biggest issue I have with it is the fact that for the 40 seconds it goes on, it's doing the job quite well. Listen, you are pitching me flying, flesh-eating fish, and for a second here, you're serving it up. I mean, come on, James Cameron. I see why people trusted you with a bigger film after this. If you're giving me that sequence, it looks pretty great. Children are getting saved. Fucking Mrs. Wilson goes hiding under a table, never to be seen again. And there's chaos. There's commotion. People are running. I really think what works the most for me is for a second, like you see the wave of people like turn around and start running from the beach back to the resort. And this is like the moment. Yeah, you're right. This is what these films build up to. They do a really good job with the brief moment in which it happens. But God, I wanted so much more. I wanted to see how creative they could get. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it is the limitation of budget. But for everybody just to run inside behind the glass and lock the door and have that be it was disappointing, because I wanted to see such like a larger scale of chaos. If you've got fucking flying fish, the potentials for where you could take that are limitless. They could be doing so much. It is endless. Give me more. So yeah, it's not enough of it, but what they do, I think, is quite entertaining. Even the shots of the fish flying up out of the sea, I'll take it. I love it.
Well, and then there's the moment where everyone gets inside the hotel. They lock the doors and they leave Gabby outside. And he has a torch, and you think, okay, his son was just murdered. This dude is going to become a badass, right? This is this is the weakest attempt I've ever seen at somebody trying to He's holding this torch and these fish are flying towards him. He's literally just going, ugh, ugh. He's not. I would have that torch like a motherfucking baseball bat, and you guarantee I'd be swinging that motherfucker as hard as I could. He's literally standing there going, ugh, 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 poking at him, not doing a damn thing. Everyone's watching him, and inevitably, because he's not even trying to ward these fish off, they latch onto his neck. And I love Roger. These people, they're just watching this poor man be devoured, and none of them try to help.
Annie's right up in front. Annie's watching it. She's just got her hand on the glass, not doing a thing. She won't budge.
They're not letting this poor man in the building. They're just watching him be devoured. And I'm like, what a terrible end to this character who we didn't know much about, granted, but give him some fight. Give him some fight.
They set it up like this man is straight up going to fucking fight a fish. Like, it looks like it's going to be such a fucking moment. He's stepping up with his torch. You really think that some shit's about to go down, only for him to go down like a sack of potatoes. I mean, these fish, it takes them literally 3 seconds and this man is on the ground. Like, nothing at all. And you're right, everybody's just looking through the glass like they're mourning him.
They could have grabbed anything.
They could have helped him. They could have all grabbed torches. They've all got those sticks that they were ready to beat the fish with. Use those.
They're locked. Grab some knives off the table. Go stab those. Nope, they just watch. And it's supposed to be like, again, an emotionally impactful scene, but then they followed up with cutting to something that we don't give a rat's ass about, which is another issue this film has. After this grand scene of this party being attacked by these fish, we cut to Chris and Allison waking up in this dinghy in the middle of the sea where she's like, we're lost at sea. And that, who the fuck cares? What does this have to do with anything?
So I think what happened is they started to take the boat back, and then they made love and fell asleep with each other. And the boat,
I don't care.
I know I don't care.
Unless there's flying fish coming at them, I don't give a shit about these two being in the boat.
I agree. But they're like they're trying to get back to the mainland, and so they're like, look, there's lights. I think that's the hotel. So I think basically what this is setting up is that these individuals are rowing right into chaos. But it does not ever follow up with the potential of what it could be.
No. So Annie, of course, a whole slew of people were just slaughtered. I can't buy that people are just going to be able to just leave this hotel. Wouldn't law enforcement be there keeping them in? No, but apparently she's able to walk right out of the hotel and go back to the boat where she gets in, and she's able to go to the spot where she needs to dive to get to this sunken ship. And when she's there, Tyler is there waiting for her, and he's like, oh, I thought Gabby was coming. And she's like, no, he's dead. I just watched him and I didn't help him. She doesn't say that, but you could have helped him. I'm sorry, this man could have been helped. There was no excuse for him to be devoured. There was 2 fish on him, and there was a whole, okay, I'm not getting over that, but I'm just saying. Okay, so she tells them.
Let's emphasize real quick. When you say that she walks back to the boat, she casually strolls in her white one-piece jumpsuit back to the boat. There does not seem to be a pep in her step at this point. I would be sprinting, terrified that fish are going to fly at me.
There's no urgency. I'd have a baseball bat. I'd have a machete. Nope, she just strolls right back. She's like, we got an hour to go down there and kill these fish. I mean, I guess I get it. I guess this is their home base, so they all go back. But this whole plan, to me, I was kind of confused because we've seen that these fish aren't they're not confined to this one area, right? They've been everywhere. They've been all around town. They've been in the hotel. They've been in sinks. They've been everywhere, right? So why are you thinking that you're going to blow this wreckage up and it's going to kill them all? But that's the plan. That's the plan. We'll go with it.
Yeah. One thing that they did mention earlier is that when Tyler was filling her in on all the military stuff, he does mention that they accidentally dropped 4 containers of eggs, and they only found 3. And where they dropped them, I think, was right over the site of the ship. So I think what they're implying is that that all of the eggs are there, and any of the fish that have hatched are going to be culminating around that area. So not saying there's logic behind that whatsoever, but I think what he's saying is like the source of all of the problems are stemming from that.
But even if there's not, if even if there's one of these fuckers that isn't back at this location when you blow it up, I'm sorry, you didn't really do much. That one fucker's still going to be flying around ripping people's throats out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, whatever. They dive down there. There's this long extended scene of them diving, swimming through the wreckage of this boat. As the piranhas start to follow them, as they're trying to unbolt different vents to get through the different rooms and stuff. And in the meantime, we keep cutting back to Steven, who finds Chris and Allison out in the middle of the boat, and in an elaborate stunt decides to jump out of his helicopter
What the?
onto the fishing boat and let the helicopter crash into the water and explode.
I don't understand what his intention or goal was. I think he basically realizes he needs to drive the boat. But is his son not working on a boat? Couldn't he have just like leaned out and been like, "Hey, let's get you over to that boat. Get in there and sail it." I don't know if sacrificing a helicopter to the sea was at all a wise call here. That seems to be a big problem and very dangerous for Anne, who is in the boat that's directly beneath what they're trying to, what they're trying to do. That helicopter could land on her.
Yeah, I got confused. I had to rewind it a couple times. I was like, wait, did the helicopter crash and he was in it? What happened? What happened? What happened? And I was like, oh, well, he jumped out of it. You would think if he was trained to fly a helicopter, he'd be trained to land it in water. Like helicopters have those. Don't they have those like floaty things that you can land it in water or get close to? Like, yeah, you just blew up this tiny island. This island cannot have that big of a police budget. You just blew up their helicopter, their only helicopter. How are they going to replace that? I guess they have bigger things to worry about now. But you get this long extended scene of Tyler and Anne swimming through this wreckage as the piranha are following them. And, time's a ticking, because Gabby set the bomb to go off at 6:30. It's like 6:28 and a half seconds. So there's not a lot of time left. And they go through like their last thing and they hear the piranhas coming, and Annie's able to untie this grate, swim through it, no problem. But as Tyler goes to swim through it, he gets caught on the grate and cannot get through. And I thought, when this first happened, I thought, okay, this is a good moment of suspense, right? You're going to have Annie swim back and try to help him out to notice that he's stuck. Does she do that? No. Annie has made some bad choices that have allowed several people to die. She doesn't try to help this man as he's stuck in this grate and the piranhas attack him and mercilessly devour his legs.
This whole moment, it is really out of nowhere, and I guess they felt the need to sacrifice one of the major players, and I do kind of appreciate and respect it, because I didn't feel it would be fair if all of them survived. I really thought Steve was going to die, but I guess they let Chris have both of his parents, because you've got this really suspenseful kind of moment of them swimming through this, goddamn fucking shipwreck again. They're back, and the piranhas sense them, they're coming, so they got to swim through that fucking vent system, and it's very complex, all the things that are going on, and they realize they have to ditch their air tanks in order to fit through that grate. So they don't even have their air tanks on. And then when it's all said and done and they're about to make an escape for it, you're right. Poor Tyler, his leg gets caught and he starts getting devoured by the fucking piranha. And it's even set up in a way where I really thought, like, after all of this happened, I thought we were going to have him come up to the surface and be wounded, but be like, I made it. But, like, no. The thing blows up and he dies.
Well, I would have appreciated like a moment, like I said, of her trying to at least help him, because she turns around and she sees that he's stuck, and she doesn't try to help him. And I thought that would be a good source of suspense to have her swim back down there and be trying to pull him out. And, he could still die, but at least you'd have that level of suspense and thinking, oh my God, is he going to make it? Is she going to get there in time? No, she just like turns around, looks at him, was like, oh, well, I guess fuck him. And she swims up to the shore. Although she doesn't really swim to the shore, but because what happens is she notices there's like 10 seconds left. So Steve also notices this. So he kicks that boat into high gear and starts to, sail away. She's able to grab the anchor and hold on to it and be pulled away from the wreckage as the boat's speeding away, just as it blows up. And there's this moment where you see the huge explosion. It knocks Chris down. It knocks Allison down. It knocks Steven down in their boat. And they look on and they think that poor Annie has perished in the explosion. And they're all crying and holding each other. When all of a sudden, she pops up to the surface and Allison sees her and she's like, "Oh, it's Annie." And they're able to go save her and pull her onto the ship.
She made it.
She made it. And, who knows what's going to happen with her and her worthless son and his new girlfriend, because fuck them. We didn't know anything about them anyways. And the movie ends.
The movie does end, and like it ends rather abruptly. I'm happy Annie made it, but she really is quick to like swim out of that fucking boat and grab onto that anchor as it's dragging away, and she gets swept away. I mean, dramatically, like it is dramatic. But like she looks over at Tyler, he looks at her, and he's just like, "Uh oh," and she's like, "Well," and then she just dips out.
Annie is out to save her own ass. She doesn't care about it. Let you know, whatever. I get you, but come on.
She's been selfless up to this point, though, I feel.
Well, she wanted Tyler for his dick. She got his dick, and now she's like, fuck him, you can die.
But and that really is the ending. Like she gets up to the boat, they all realize it's her. For some reason, it's Allison who's the one that notices that she survived. She's the first one you see, not the ex-husband or the child, but the random girl with no purpose looks up with her fawn eyes, and she's like, "Oh, she made it." And so they pull her out of the boat. And so they pull her out of the water, out of the boat, slow motion, and then it cuts to the credits. And it does end, and you're kind of like, you know what? Do I feel like this movie has earned the 6% score on Rotten Tomatoes, or the 3 I think it was like what's it, maybe 3.7 on IMDb? I wouldn't say it's that bad. I really wouldn't. But I feel like I just went to like a luxurious dinner, and I like ended up being unsatisfied with the meal. I'm full. I got the full experience, but I just didn't necessarily enjoy all aspects about what I just consumed. But overall, it's not as bad as I think a lot of people make it out to be. What do you think?
From a critical perspective and looking at things like, character development and story, the movie has a lot of issues. But when I look at it from a perspective of, I want to just sit back and watch something and not really have to think about it and be completely entertained, I feel like this film definitely does the job there for sure. There's a lot to like about the film. Like I said, entertaining as hell. Whether James Cameron was involved, how heavy his involvement was in it, who knows? Only he knows that, and the people that worked on the film. He's still listed as the director, so I'm going to go with it. And it gives you kind of a good glimpse into like his emerging style and his emerging like motifs, like water and things like that he likes to explore with his films. So I mean, it's a good. And I would agree with you. I looked at some of the ratings on like Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and I was very surprised. I was very surprised that some of them were so low because it is entertaining. But then again, on the flip side, like I said, if you look at it from a story perspective and how messy the story is, I can see why. It's definitely not the worst film I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how many times I would ever revisit it, but I will say I'm glad I got to watch it to do this review because I really had a blast with it. As absurd as it was in many parts, I thoroughly had fun with it.
Yeah, I really, at the end of the day, enjoy watching this movie. I will say that, they remade Piranha, and then they followed up with Piranha 2, which has some really fun moments. Some people like it, some people don't. It has David Hasselhoff in it for this really like kind of funny ongoing cameo. And so I appreciate the sense of humor, but they really leaned into the humor, which they touched on it with the first Piranha, but then they just go all out with Piranha 2, Double D, whatever the fuck it is. I would love to see a remake of this film with a little more money behind it and just, again, leaning into the absurdity of it. Because I think that if they would have just pushed it a step further, really let that like develop a little bit more, because there's a lot of fun to be had in some of those characters, and really let them go all out with quality effects, there would be a great film in here. There's some potential for a fun fucking time. And I still have a good time watching it. I'll be chanting "I want fish" for weeks to come. But yeah, it does feel like it leaves you feel like you kind of missed the mark, that it doesn't quite pay off in the way you would expect a movie about flying for Piranha to pay off. It gives you some of the experience, it just doesn't give you the whole thing. So yeah, I don't think it's nearly as bad as people make it out to be at all. but it's certainly not a masterpiece by any means.
No, I agree with you. Fun watch. I would highly recommend it, guys. If you haven't seen the film, definitely check it out. I need to check out the first one, the original one, for my own curiosity now that I've seen this one to see kind of how different they are tonally. But again, give me Alexander Aha's remake. I love that one. So this one definitely let me opened my eyes to the early Piranha experience.
Oh, as it should be open. And I will say, wait until we review it for the podcast because I think, this is definitely this film has a reputation for sure. Like it's definitely known as being probably one of the worst, quote unquote turkeys of all time. Whereas the first Piranha has a far better response, has some really actually terrifying sequences. Some of the executions of some of the kills I think you're going to be really impressed with. So let's save that one for another episode because I think you're going to have a fun time watching that as well.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely going to be on my list. Yeah, add it to 2023 since we did the sequel. We did things a little backwards. We started with Piranha 2 first and not the original. And it's only because James Cameron is having his moment. So we want to honor him and his contribution to film with Avatar and Avatar Way of the Water. We wanted to see where he got his start from. And this was certainly... So, yeah, that was Piranha 2, guys. Let us know your thoughts on the film. If you've seen it, do you think it deserves the reputation it has for being a turkey, or do you think that it's, maybe unfairly criticized? With that said, I guess I got to reveal what our episode for next week is. Are you excited to hear it?
Oh, I'm fucking thrilled.
Okay, well, I decided it's time to cover one of my favorite slasher films and certainly one of my favorite home invasion films from the last 20 years. And I'm just going to bite the bullet and start 2023 out right with a film that I love. I saw it in theaters. One of the best. We as gay men, we talk about final girls all the time because they're special and important to us. This film has one of the best final girls in all of slasher history. And I'm talking about none other than fucking Sharni Vincent. We're talking next week, the film You're Next.
I love You're Next.
I do too. So this will be a good conversation. We got lots of layers to uncover with that one because it's quite more complex than I think maybe people give it credit for. But we will dive right in. So in the meantime, guys, like I said, you want more episodes? Check out our Patreon. Head on over to Apple Podcast Review and give us that little 5-star rating. It would mean the world to us because it helps the show out. So yeah, until next week, Roger. I guess there's only one way to end this. It's late. I'm hungry.
We want fish.
I want fish.
We want fish. Yes, we do. And our fans are all getting fish tonight as well. On Dark Day of the Podcast. What if we gave away? What if we ended this episode by giving away complimentary carp to our fans? We're going to have to find a way to do that for you guys because we love you.
Join our Patreon and get a complimentary
Join our Patreon. We're not standing by that, by the way. This is a joke. We're saying it right now. But join our Patreon, and also, one last thing I want to touch on, join our group. We've had such a surge recently in our Facebook group, and it's become a really fun time, and I'm really enjoying it. We have a lot of people participating in conversations. Like, everyone's being super respectful. It's a really positive environment. And we just want to keep the conversation going with you guys. The reason we do this is, A, we like to hear ourselves talk. Yes, it's true. However, we also want a reason to talk with all of you. So even if you're just in our group, thank you for participating. We're going to start shouting some of you out as well for your participation. So thank you for that. And just expect to see more there and expect to hear more here because we are back on our A game. Right, Troy?
Abso-fucking-lutely. With that, guys, good night.
Good night.